now here. So don't say anything bad about anybody else, okay?
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead. The three-dimensional planning, let's kind of walk through what we're going to talk about today. Uh, First of all, we're going to kind of describe what it is, and we did a little bit of that in the overview. And then we can talk about how to manage the three-dimensional planning is about categorizing and subcategorizing any planning elements in the system against the set of standards, either existing standards or standards that you create, and then the ability to go back and extract that information by those categories. So we're going to talk about how do we assign those categories. The dashboard strategic priorities view on the macro level at the bottom of the screen is based on categorizing things against the strategic priorities from your strategic plan. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then the reporting, there's three different reports for the three-dimensional planning. The categories report just is a list of the categories and subcategories. And then the category tag report is the main one. That's the one that you can go in and you can use Boolean logic to determine what am I going to see on here. I want to see everything that's strategic priority 1 and public health essential 1, things like that. So we'll talk about that. And then the categorization report will show you how have I categorized this particular plan. And where that comes in handy is if you're working on a plan and you add a new service and you've already categorized it, then you can go back and say, oops, I got to recategorize that service in there. So it just shows you what's done and what's not done in there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. First of all, kind of definition of three-dimensional planning. Again, what we do is we go in it and we categorize and subcategorize each planning element against the set of standards. So one of those things is the essentials of public health. So there's now back down to 10. I think we were at 12 at one point in time for public health and accreditation essentials, and now we're back down to 10. And by the way, your categories on your account are the older ones. So it's got the 12 domains for FAB and things like that. So I'll go fix that when we get off here. So you get back down to the new standards here. But for instance, if you wanted to know what are we doing across the whole department?
Well, actually, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think we do actually have the newer ones because I only see 10 domains when I look at the pre-uploaded plans.
Oh, no, I'm talking about, I'll show you the categories. They're separate.
Oh, the categories, because I want to say that these categories, the CHIP, the EOP, and the CHAR, and they're very similar to what we have in there. But I trust you. Yeah. You know what's in there more than I do. So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, the plans are separate from the categories because you can cross-reference any plan against the category. We'll see that in a minute here.
It all just clicked. Thank you.
Yeah. What we're looking at here is let's say we wanted to categorize different pieces of different plans, and it can be not just these plans, but any plans in the system against the essentials of public health. The idea there is going in and saying, as a public health department, we're responsible for all 10 essentials here. So how are we doing against each one? So you can pull up a report that shows across the whole department, we're doing really well on number 1, we're not doing enough on number 2, things like that.
Okay.
FAB standards, again, we'll talk about that. Those are all in there. Where this comes in handy is when you're getting ready for your site visits from FAB. You're going to be able to go in and say, okay, here's everything we're doing across every plan related to standard 6.1. And then you can generate what we call the category tag report, which says, show me everything across the whole department related to 6.1, which includes every plan and every document in the system. So when you're sitting there with your site reviewer or online with your site reviewer, you can go in and bring up this report. Instead of them having to go search for everything you're doing, it's right in front of them in a nice methodical order there. We talked about the strategic priorities being mapped against everything else at the bottom of the dashboard screen. That's exactly where it comes in. You map the strategic priorities into all the other plans, and then you can generate the bottom of that screen plus the category tag report. And you can also categorize documents. So separate from the plans, you can categorize the documents. In this case, you're saying, these are the 3 documents we're going to submit for standard 4.2.
Nice.
Okay, so that's what it's all about. Now, first thing we're going to talk about is managing the categories and subcategories. So on the main menu, we'll see there's a categories button on there, and it's going to bring open this screen. So let's go live into there. For now, I'm going to go ahead and use the USA Public Health domain because that's all the categories are proper. So the main menu up here in the top right, click on that, go down to the categories button here, and you'll see these are kind of standard public health categories. The first one is the only one that you really can't change. It's the strategic priorities from your strategic plan, which guys haven't got in the system yet, have you?
Nope.
Okay.
We just had our meeting, around like not starting it, but like refreshing
Uh,
ideas on it. So it's still in formulation.
okay. So when you get the strategic priorities, what we call the services or initiatives in your strategic plan, you'll map them into here. So basically, is all you have to do is go into the same way we got into here, click on strategic priorities, take this first one, and then change it out to whatever your strategic priority number one is, and then save it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll do that for all of these. You can add additional ones if you have more. You can remove them if you have less. So it's the same as anything else in the system. You're going to edit it, and then you're going to save it, or you're going to delete it.
I had a question. So from main menu, I didn't catch the categories button, like what that looked like.
Right here.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Okay, so we're back into there. Now you can also add complete new categories. So these are kind of, standard
Awesome.
ones that you'll see. And by the way, you don't have to keep these. You can remove any of these that you want to, but things like funding types, essentials of public health are kind of critical usually. All the FAB domains. This one down here is standard operating procedures. This one is just kind of added for our benefit. We were working with somebody on that one. But so if I wanted to
It's
add,
good to have.
yeah, it is actually. You'll notice that the sequence on the categories, there's 10 units in between each one. That allows you to move them around. So if I wanted to put something, SOPs up into after service type, I can make it number 25 down here. And if I do that, then it's
Right.
to move it up there. So it just allows you to move them around. And the reason sometimes you'll do that is because the ones that you use the most, you kind of want to keep at the top of the list.
Absolutely.
So to add a new category at the bottom here, you just hit the plus button, type in whatever you want, save it. You got the new category. Then you're going to select that category, and you're going to go over here and add the specific subcategories for it. Now, a lot of times we find, for instance, you guys are in California, so sometimes the state has requirements that you guys have to meet. So what you can do is build the state requirements in as a category, and then each of the requirements as a subcategory, and then go map it against your plan. So then you can go back to the state and say, here's how we're meeting your requirements.
Okay. That's a great idea.
So that's the first step is this is how you manage your categories. And again, I'm going to make yours look pretty much like this when I get done here. Yours right now have the 12 domains from the old FAB accreditation. You got some other ones in here, but I'm going to clean it up for you when we get done here. So you'll have this. And then, we'll go in and get your strategic priorities in there as soon as you get them laid out on your strategic plan. So that's step one. Any questions, anything that you want to go back over on that?
Well, you might go into this, but I'm wondering, you know what? I'm going to save it till the end because you might answer my question if I just sit and let you just keep continuing.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm having trouble finding my words today.
The next thing we're going to do is how do we actually use those categories to categorize things? It's really a simple process here. And that little button right that you see down there that's pointed to is the categorization button, and it appears on every screen down there. So let's go ahead and go back in and do that. So I'm going to go to the same group we've been using as our demo, the tobacco group here. I'm going to select the tobacco group, go down to services and initiatives. So I've got tobacco cessation selected. Here's my categorization button. When it's got the little blue eye in there, that means it's been categorized. If there's no little blue eye, it's not been categorized. So I click on that. And then those same categories we just saw in the edit screen show up here. So here's what I'm saying is this particular tobacco program falls under, and I just randomly picked these, strategic priority 1, 3, and 5. That's what the checkmarks are. And I can go in and say, okay, I'm going to take it off of that one, or I'm going to leave that one on there. In addition, I'm saying Public health essential service number 2 and 3, it falls into there. And then fab domain 1, it falls into standard 1.1. So I'm categorizing it against all these different. You can categorize against as many or as few as you want to, and as many or few subcategories as you want to. So you put a lot of information in there and tag them anyway. So now what's going to happen when I hit this button, it's going to give me this thing. So remember, we're up at the service initiative level right now. I have a whole bunch of plan underneath it. Usually everything underneath that plan is going to fall into the same categories, right? Because it builds the plan.
Awesome.
So what it's allowing you to do is say, yeah, I want to go ahead and categorize everything below it the same. Or I could say, no, I just want to categorize the service or initiative, or I can just back out and not save anything. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. So now it's going to come back. So now we have it categorized. If I click on this again, it's just going to show the same exact thing I just showed you here. But if I go down the levels here, so go down to my groups, and I would look at any one of these groups, they're going to have exactly the same categories. Now, what you can do is, let's say, I'm sorry, my goals here. Oops, I got to go back here. Let's say goal 2 doesn't meet all of those categories. It's got some of them that aren't there, however that happens. So I could go in here and say, maybe it's only essential number 2. So I could undo that. And then I have the same option from the goal down to the objectives and activities. Do I want to categorize them that way? So I go ahead and say yes. So now just everything under that goal is recategorized. So the idea is when you're going to categorize a whole level of a plan, typically you're going to categorize the whole thing all the way down and then go back and make the tweaks, because it's just the simplest way to do it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So do you recommend that approach of categorizing one service and initiative, and then going in and kind of being more specific with the goals on the goal level?
Yep. Yeah, and sometimes it's just the service that fits a specific category, and then you're going to do a different categorization on the goal. So you can do it at any level,
right,
down the pyramid here.
Right. Okay. Awesome. That's great.
So now we have the categorization done, and that's all there is to doing the categorization. It's real simple, and all you're doing is assigning the categories and subcategories to each planning element, which then allows you to go back and say, show me the information based on what I put in there. So as I recall, let me see, we have strategic priority 1 and 3 in here is what I put in there. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's okay. Now, how do we get that information out of the system is next. Couple things. First of all, the dashboard screen. So you remember on the dashboard screen, this last button, priorities, that's mapping those strategic priorities against everything you categorized. So basically what it's showing you is how do we map the strategic priorities against everything else in the system? In an ideal world, your strategic plan does contain everything you do as a health department, right? Because that is the big picture plan. So what you're doing here is saying, how well do we do that against all the other plans? That's what it's about. So anytime you're going into, let's say, your chip, you might take your chip and say, okay, I'm going to categorize it against our strategic plan just to see how it looks. And then you can go in down to this screen and get all that detail on there. So that's one of the outputs. That's just for the strategic priorities. We've got one more thing to go through. That's just the reports. Anything else that doesn't make sense what we talked about here?
I guess, I think what will happen most likely is I'm going to go into the system and start applying this to what we're working on, and I think questions will pop up as I'm doing it.
Yep.
If it's okay with you, can I maybe email you questions as they come along?
Or pick up the phone.
Thank you.
Whatever you need to do. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the way to get the stuff out of the system is basically through the 3 different reports that we have in here. So the categories report, I'll show you this in a minute, is just a list of the categories and subcategories. And it's basically, you may have a bunch of them in there and you just want to say, hey, we need to update these. So you generate the list and look at it and say, oh, this one needs to be taken out or edited or whatever it happens to be. And then there's the category tag report. This is the one you'll use most. And we're going to go into detail on that. And then the categorization report tells you how a plan is categorized. So which categories are assigned to which plan elements, and it's usually a pretty detailed report. But again, it comes in handy when you're looking to say, why am I not getting the output that I expect on a category tag report? And you go look at it and say, oh, I forgot to categorize this particular plan element or something. So let's go back here now and look at the different plans. So I'm going to select my reduce smoking at high schools here. And well, let's go back and go to the service level, tobacco cessation. Go up to my plan or my reports up here. And first of all, I'm going to select the categories report. This is a simple one. This is just the list of categories. So these are my strategic priorities. These are the service types, requirements, and then we got the essentials of public health, and then we have each of the FAB domains and standards in there. So it's just, again, it's just a list. And to print off like we did before any report, just click this button, save the report, and do whatever you want to do with it. So that's number one. Let's go talk about the category tag report. So are you familiar with Boolean logic? Ands and ors, basically.
What? Can you repeat that?
It's Boolean, Boolean, Boolean logic.
No.
Well, let's learn Boolean logic. It's really, really simple.
Okay. It's a like turn of phrase.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about what it does for you here. So first thing you're going to select is, what do I want to look at? What have I categorized that I want to look at? Do I want to look at documents? We won't talk about abstracts today. That'll be a future thing. Services, goals, or objectives or activities. So for right now, I'm going to say I want to look at, let's say, objectives. I want to look at objectives that have been categorized. And then over here, I can say, okay, strategic priorities. And we have, 1 and 3, right? So I want to say which plan elements at the objective level are categorized for either 1 or 3. So this is where Boolean logic comes in. Within a category, it's an OR function. And what that means is, if it's categorized, let's say some of them are categorized with 1 and some of them are categorized with 3 and some of them are categorized with both of them. If either or, it's going to show up on the report. So that would be the OR function. Does that make sense?
And how do you set the OR function again? Is that not
selecting within a category? So if I'm within strategic priorities as my category, and my subcategories, I've selected 1 and 3, it's saying, and I can select them all, by the way, but what it's saying is that if it is tagged with either 1 or 3, it's going to show up on the report. Versus an AND function would be meaning that it has to have both 1 and 3 attached to it before it will show up.
I see. And so the OR setting is something that's naturally set.
Yeah, it's built in, yeah. And it's within the category is the OR function. So right now I'm going to say I want to look at all the objectives that are tagged with either 1 or 3 or both, and I'll generate the report here. And it's going to give me a report that just shows me, and it'll show you what we selected up at the top. So up here we're saying strategic priority 1, and then these are the objectives down here that are tagged with strategic priority 1. So that's
right. Okay.
So that's how you extract the information that you've tagged in there. Now, the AND function then would be, if I go back to here, I'm still at the objective level. The AND function would be across categories. So you remember it was like 2 and 3, wasn't it, that we had selected? I think it was. We can go back, but let's go ahead.
Okay.
Let's say
within like strategic priorities, or
I'm down at essentials and public health right now. So within strategic priorities, we're saying if it's either 1 or 3, and here's where the AND function comes in, and it is categorized as number 2 in public health essentials. So it's got to meet either 1 and 3 in strategic priorities, and it's got to meet number 2 in order to show up on a report. So that's where the logic comes in. You can do, and you'll find out that you can do a lot with that over time, the way you categorize things. I just want to see things that are strategic priority or essential number 2 and strategic priority number 1. And they have to have both of them before they'll show up on a report. So if I generate the report, we'll see it should show up probably the same objectives, I'm guessing here.
So in that case, it has to have both of those categories, um, and the subcategories of each of those categories checked to make it onto this report.
Right. Yeah. And remember, within the category though, it's either of the subcategory or any of the subcategories.
Right.
But across the categories, it's got to have both of them, the and function in there.
Right.
So this is what shows up on the report. So these are the ones that are tagged with both, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think it's starting to. So
What you
it can have one or all of the subcategories, but
yeah,
it has to have all of the categories.
yep, exactly. Exactly. That's exact. And you can go across all the different categories. So you can narrow it down to, one planning element that meets all the criteria if you wanted to. So that's the category tag report. That's the primary output from the categorization process.
Okay.
So that, and again, it's very, very detailed to be able to get to this level in here. But once you get the categories set up in here, you can go in and say, I want to see a report just for, so I can go in here and uncheck these. And then I can uncheck this one. And I could go in and say, I just want to see things that are categorized by standard 1.1. So this is where you'd go if you have your site visit going on and you want to say, I want to show our site visitor all of the activities across everything in the system that are categorized by standard 1.1. So you could have tons and tons and tons of activities in there.
Right.
And that we've had a lot of feedback, by the way, from the site visitor that they love that because it's all in one place. They don't have to go searching through documents and scatter stuff around. It's all in one place. And if they're happy, you'll be happy.
Right. I'm actually making note of that right now, that site visitors gave good feedback on that.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our, get out of here, go into our groups. Okay, we're selected still with tobacco. Now we're going to look at the categorization report. And again, it's going to say, when we're looking at this one, it's going to take a while because it's got to generate everything. So what we're saying is I'm looking at the activity level again. So I'm saying which activities are categorized how. So here's the specific categorizations that we have set up for this particular activity. So it's the strategic priorities 1 and 3, essentials of public health 2 and 3, fab domain 1, subcategories standard 1.1. So that's showing you everything that is categorized. I can look at the activities, objectives, goals, or services level here, just pick out what I want to see. So that's the categorization report. Again, where this comes in handy is over time, let's say you go in and create your strategic plan and you have 4 strategic priorities in there. You go in and you categorize everything against fab standards and everything else. And maybe 6 months from now, you say, let's go in and add another strategic priority. And then you forget about the categorization. So then you can go back in, generate this report for the strategic plan, look at it and say,
Okay.
These are the categories that I should assign to the new one in there.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really a feature that once you get several plans in there and you want to look across the plans, there's really a lot of cool things you can do with it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to get more equipped or just better at using this function, because it seems like it's going to be really helpful.
And again, you can add your own categories, whatever you want. We have people adding them all the time for different things that they want to track across the whole department. And again, maybe it's a state standard, or maybe it's just something that you guys want to track. One of the things that people will put in here are grants. So maybe you got a bunch of different grants that you're managing, and you want to know which pieces of which plans are being paid for by which grants. So you might build a category that's called grants, and underneath that list each of the grants. So then you go in and you categorize this portion of our tobacco program is funded by this grant. So you go in and put in that information.
Yeah.
Go in, and when you got to do your grant, quarterly reports or whatever you have to do with the grantor, you can go in and generate that report that says, show me everything we're paying for with this grant. and you can send that information to them and say, it's basically your report going back to the grantor.
That's great. So you can make the different funding sources subcategories and then put the different programs that that grant is funding as that subcategory.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to say
That's awesome.
this grant is the subcategory, and I'm going to assign this to these 5 activities that are being funded by that grant.
That's awesome. That's great. I can't wait to pass that along to management here. I think they're gonna love it.
So many things you can do, and as you think about it, you can add and move these categories around as much as you want to. It's basically is all you're doing is tagging with the text that's in there, so it's easy to go back and look at it and figure out how to extract the data from it.
Awesome.
And that was all there is to three-dimensional planning.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I know we went over time. I just really want to be respectful of your time.
No, we have
Um,
another 20 minutes, so we're good.
oh, that's right. It started at a 30 instead of like a right
Exactly.
on the dot,
Yeah.
like above. I don't know the term for that, like right when the hour starts, but yeah, if you're right, this was really quick, and I really, really am excited. Every time you teach us more about the functionalities of VMSG, I get more excited. So
Well, I'm
yeah, I
happy,
really appreciate it.
and that makes me happy when I hear you say that. So, well,
Great, I'm glad. Yeah.
I'm going to post this video up on YouTube, and I'll send you the link. And then you can maybe share it with everybody else, knowing it's a pretty quick view.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. I also took notes as well, which I think I'll send to them, but I think the video, there's nothing to replace a video of it. I think that'll be really good.
And again, if people
Um,
want to go back through this again, if everybody else wants to go through the same training, we're happy to do it again.
I'll let them know that that's an option as well. Yeah, thank you. I'm sure we're all gonna have more questions as we get in there and
You know where to find.
start doing it. I did have some questions. I'm so happy to hear that we have more time because I have some team members that asked some questions about their own ability to check what documents they've already uploaded.
Uh-huh.
If they're, I believe, forgive me, I should have this information as to what type everyone is assigned to. But I believe that our group members, I think, are type 1 or 2.
Okay. Type 1 is
I
an
can-
org admin. Type 2 is a normal user.
They're type 2. That's what it is. So I'm wondering, can they go into as like type 2 members? One of the team members, she went and she clicked document management and she saw something, but she didn't share her screen, so I couldn't see what she was seeing. But
Yeah.
she was saying I'll let you.
What you can do is if there's a specific plan they're talking about, like an accreditation plan or something, if you generate the operational plan report, and then, well, let's do that on here. So I'm going to use the same tobacco example here. Reports, operational plan, and then there's an option up there to check documents. And when you do that, it's going to show you what documents you've uploaded into the system, and the documents appear in green here. So that's easy to figure out what you put in there.
And then that will go through each, and so so that will give you the breakdown as to exactly which documents have been submitted in which activities.
Yeah, well, right now this document's attached to this initiative. This document down here is attached to the goal. If there was documents attached to the objectives and activities, they would show up in green right below the objective or activity. So you can see who's done it. And then typically you're going to look at the people who are assigned to the activity and say, okay, one of those people uploaded that document in there. And when you go to the document, it'll tell you who actually did the upload. Let's go take a look at the one under the initiative here. So I select that. This is the document, tobacco cessation plan. If I go down to here, it says who was the user who uploaded the document and what date did they do that.
Okay.
Now, if you're a type 5 user or a type 1 user, you can also use the document management feature here on the main menu. I don't believe a normal user has access to this. But if I click on that, I can go in here and say, I just want to see every document attached into the tobacco plan. So I can select a group or a plan, and then it'll show me all the documents attached to just that plan. And then you can go,
Right.
again, you can see who did it, all the information about the documents and everything.
Okay, perfect. So I'll work with that team member because she really wanted to check like with her own records which of the documentation she planned to upload to VMSG has been uploaded and which ones hadn't. And so she was having difficulty like generating just a list of what she's uploaded so far just as an individual.
Yeah, if it's within a plan, this would be the right screen to use because it'll show you, and this is the group that you're going to select. So within the FAB plan or whichever plan you're looking at, I can say these are all the documents that have been submitted for Tobacco 2023, and it's going to give you a list of all the documents. Or you can
Can
again
I?
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So I have been messing around with the document management. It's been so helpful. I just was wondering, like, is there a way of isolating per per person, like who's uploading it? So like I can see all the documents that so and so has uploaded and nobody else.
Let me think about that for a second here. I don't think there's a way to say, these documents are uploaded by this person. You can look on the report and see the documents. And again, if I go to the operational plan report with the documents, you're going to be able to look
Yeah, that
at the
information.
objectives and the activities. And it's going to say this. Typically, there's
Okay.
a lead assigned, so that lead is going to be the person who's attached this document. So that would be the best way to go about it, as far as I can tell. I don't think I can
Yeah, and
by person.
yeah, that's okay. It's a very unique situation we're in right now doing the readiness assessment because we're assigning specific documentation per person. But you said you could export these reports as an Excel, right?
Uh, no, the report you can make into a PDF or something. You can export the plan into an Excel document. So if I went up here and said, okay, I got my tobacco 2023 plan, I go to the main menu and I hit export here. It'll export it to a CSV file, which will open up in Excel.
And in that Excel, will I see what's been submitted by who?
Um, Yeesh. You will see the attached person. So you'll see the objective lead or the activity lead who's been attached to the planning element, but it won't say that this particular document was supported or exported by this person.
Okay.
It'll just show you it's in there. Yeah,
Okay.
we would probably
I
do the operational plan report, select the document option, and then knowing that I'm the activity lead, and here's the document on my activity. Be probably the close.
Yeah, that's really helpful to know. I think all this is going to be really helpful and I'm just trying to understand like just how VMSG runs so I can be, optimizing my use of it, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Um yeah, I was also wondering when I'm going in, it's been a struggle because to figure out like what new documentation has been submitted since last time I checked. Is there a way of sorting out the documentation from like a specific time period, like what's been uploaded since, December 1st or something like that?
Let me think about that here. Yeah, I don't think that. Let me look at document management again here. Um, Now, realistically, if you go down, this is the date that the document was last updated down here. So it
Right,
has
right.
Eric's in it at 210. So realistically, the only way I think you do that was just scanning down here and taking a look at them. I don't think you can sort
Okay.
by date. Let me see, status,
So
type.
clicking on them individually, because I've been doing that and I've been trying to figure out if there is a way in VMSG, because what I've been doing is just clicking each individual activity because we're only submitting documentations at the activity level for the readiness assessment plan.
right?
Um, but I'm just been clicking into each activity and seeing the documentation and if it's already been noted that it's been uploaded or they uploaded it recently and it's not in my Excel that I've been using to track like who's been finishing their assignments. And so I wanted some kind of guidance on, I guess maybe what other people have done. But it sounds like I can get this operational plan report
Yeah.
and see that information as well. And I think that's going to be really helpful.
Are you using the, let's go back to your account here for a second. Take a look. County.
I'm working out of the RA tab, the
Okay.
RA group, I mean, for the readiness
Okay.
assessment. And I basically just copied and pasted those domains from that were already
Okay. Yeah.
in VMSG for us.
So let's take a look here and just go ahead and generate the operational plan report for that
Okay.
and make sure we got documents selected here. It's going to be a big plan.
Oh, yeah. Do you find that other people use like a Excel externally outside of VMSG just to, because I'm trying to figure out if I'm making more steps than I need to in doing that.
Typically,
If there's a way to just do it all on VMSG.
yeah, Excel is typically used to generate custom reports and graphs and that kind of stuff to export it that way. But I'm not familiar with people using Excel for anything related to VMSG other than maybe as a data entry tool to be able to build a plan in Excel and then copy and paste it into VMSG. So this is the
Okay.
report. We have documents selected. So right down here, here's all the documents that are attached to this particular um, preparation.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go, yeah, you see all the documents that are attached down here. And again, they're going to be attached. Well, in this case, it's you up here. So
Yeah, that'll be great. I think this will be really good to look through after this and kind of um inventory what's already been uploaded.
so one of the other things you
Yeah,
think about doing is using the traffic lights. So
right.
if you
I've been trying to promote that and everything's green right now and I've been trying to tell the whole team to really utilize those. I think there's still some confusion as to when to use them.
yeah, that's true.
Um,
But like right now, you have gold traffic lights right here. So if you took everything that the documentation was completed on and marked it as gold, then you can do a filter here on this report and say just select,
uh,
and it'll just show you everything that the documentation has been completed on.
right. Okay.
And
Oh,
you could go through the
oh,
report
sorry.
easily and look at it and say, "Yep, this document's done. Mark it as gold. Mark it as gold," and just go through and get that done once, and then just tell everybody once you completed the documentation, please set the traffic light to gold, and then it'll make it real easy to go in there and look at it.
Yes, yeah. I think that that's what I've been telling people, but I think I need to just keep reiterating it. Yeah, you know what? I think no, that is actually different than what I've been telling them too, because I've been telling them to mark it yellow if they want to discuss that particular document and any questions they have on it.
That's a good idea.
So
Mark it as yellow, and then that triggers you to dig in with them, and then once you guys decide that it's done, then mark it as gold or whatever.
yeah, yeah. So that's food for thought. I think kind of having them mark it yellow even just from uploading it. That way we know what documentation has been uploaded for which activity. So I'll maybe talk to Tamron about that idea. I think that's a good idea.
I think that is a good
For
idea. If they
tracking.
upload it, they mark it as yellow. That means somebody's going to go take a look at it and determine that it's done or needs some more work or whatever it happens to be. And you could go into the activity that's marked yellow and put a note in there that says, we need another document on this one, or update this document with this information, or whatever it happens to be. And it'll all
Yeah.
in the notes field.
Yeah, and I want to maybe I have other questions from I want to be mindful of the time. So maybe I'll save more questions on the stoplights if we have time, but I really also wanted to follow up on Cameron's email that she sent about the notification email. Um, and I just want to bring it up really quick.
Okay.
Let's see. So she forwarded you the VMSG dashboard notification, and shared that um, it says the activities, like it says the activities for which you have been assigned as the leader have the following status.
Right.
And it says like red colon,
No.
yellow colon, green colon, but it doesn't show the actual activities itself.
Yeah, I know. I saw that, and I'm looking into it. Everything else, you
Oh,
saw my answer to her on everything else, but that one I haven't figured out yet. I got to go dig in and see. They should be showing up the number of red, yellow, green, and gold lights that you have there, but some reason it's not. So I'll dig into that and let you guys know.
okay, so normally it would just show you the number of activities for that are that exact color, like red, yellow, and green.
Exactly. That's what it's there for.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
first time
Yeah.
I've seen where it didn't show it, so I'm not quite sure where that came from.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for looking into that. And I think we're just still learning as we go, you know, with what to expect with these notifications, what they look like, and how to utilize them fully. So I think this is really great. And
Yeah, and she did ask me the other day to put you three guys in there as the contacts and take Cat out of there.
yep.
So I did that, and
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I don't remember what else was in there, but yeah, this other thing I'm looking into, and I'll let you know once I figure that out and get it working.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I think this is great. I think it's just a learning curve, and I'm trying to learn it as fast as I can so we can really utilize it to its full potential. And so I appreciate your patience and answering all of our questions right away and helping us out.
If you got some other questions from folks, you just want to email them over to me. I'll dig into them for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Um, I think I have been forwarding some of them to you, and then other ones I'm just kind of figuring out by just clicking things or referring to my notes from your trainings and things. Because I do find like sometimes I'm just reviewing notes from trainings I've already been in. You have stated the answer to those questions, and I just needed to go and review them
Great.
again. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for your time, for your patience, and for helping me when I was late this morning log on to this.
I will. I'll send you this recording, and then if you have any other questions, you know where to find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Have a wonderful day. You too.